Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call back to order the Pasco County Board of County Commissioner meeting of August 21st, 2018. If I could remind you, please silence your cell phones. We will now proceed to the resolutions. Madam Clerk, could you please read the first resolution? If we could have, is that elderly nutrition?
It is.
Feeding Pasco's elderly.
It is feeding Pasco's elderly.
If we could have everyone come up would be fantastic.
It's resolution number 18-240, resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, congratulating the Board of Directors of Feeding Pasco's Elderly Incorporated for their continued efforts in serving Pasco County's senior citizens. Whereas, with generous support from partners and community leaders, the fundraising events held by Feeding Pasco's Elderly Incorporated, FPE, on August 25, 2017 in Dade City and October 11, 2017 in Newport Richey were a true success. And whereas the two events raised a total of $45,978 net proceeds to help fight food insecurity and hunger of the senior population in Pasco County. And whereas, in addition to the donations raised by the fundraising events, Feeding Pasco's Elderly Incorporated will contribute an additional $70,000 to the Pasco County Senior Services Division. $50,000 of these funds were awarded to FPE by the Broderick Foundation, and $20,000 were awarded to Feeding Pasco's Elderly by the United Way grant. And whereas the funds raised by Feeding Pasco's Elderly, Inc. will assist the Pasco County Senior Services Division in reducing the wait list for meal services, with the goal that no senior living in Pasco County will ever be concerned about where their next meal will come from. And whereas our community recognizes that each dollar raised in support of Pasco County Senior Services Division makes a difference in seniors' lives and the lives of those that care for them. And whereas the member of the Board of Directors of Feeding Pasco Elderly, Inc. continue to bestow their gift of serving others in our community through reaching out to those in need, making the difference with their talents and being a part of something greater than themselves. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby wishes to extend its gratitude and recognition to Feeding Pasco's Elderly Incorporated for their continued efforts in serving the community, providing services and funding for citizens in need, and improving the quality of life within our community. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 21st day of August, 2018.
Move approval.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. And before I don't know if everyone wants to say, oh, fantastic to see you, young lady. Diane, yes. Sorry. So I know the board's aware, I have the honor of serving on this board with these fine folks, and it is such an honor to see the list go from triple digits down to double digits and really getting to where no senior is on a waiting list. I'm on the Area Agency on Aging board. We had a meeting yesterday, and they've got almost 1,000 people on a waiting list in Pinellas County. So it's really nice to see this nonprofit do what it does with the great folks on this board, and I'm honored to serve with each and every one of them. I know Mr. Fasano looks like he's not here, but it is great. So you want to say a few words? Well, any of you, all of you, so.
Well, as Community Services Director, I have to say we could not do what we do without them. That funding has significantly shifted the wait list. We put a new process in place where we're feeding more people than ever before. And without that funding, we could not do it.
That's good. So.
And I just want to thank you, Commissioners, for always supporting Pasco County Senior Services. Now it was Pasco County Elderly Nutrition, and Feeding Pasco's Elderly when it was formed. We used to think of fundraisers as a bake sale and getting a few dollars here and there, and now we're getting $50,000, $20,000, $100,000 from Feeding Pasco's Elderly. We're able to build a kitchen and make our own food, and therefore reducing the cost of the food and being able to serve more citizens, taking people off the wait list. It's amazing if you compare, as you said, our wait list to Pinellas County. They have over 1,000 people on the wait list. We have what we consider critical people on the wait list. We've always tried to keep that number at 50 or below. It's now down to 30. So we still got a ways to go, but thanks to them, we're able to accomplish that no senior is food insecure, and we just thank them from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. And if we could, Commission, if I could get approval for emergency walk-on item, if I can get
So
a
moved.
second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And this emergency walk-on, I had the pleasure, I've served on this board for Feeding Pasco Elderly since 2014. And I tell you, everybody works very hard. Everybody finds the time to come to meetings, to put others first. But there's one person that really does so much for it, and she's not recognized. So I really want to take a minute to recognize Nikki, and we have a little something that the clerk's going to read, but it's, I just want to tell you thank you. I know we say it every time we have meetings, but really everything you do behind the scenes to make the event we have in October coming up a success, and just everything you do, I just want to sincerely say thank you and I know I speak for the entire board because it was our decision to do this, so just want to say thank you. And if you could, go ahead, Madam Clerk, please.
If you could step up to the podium, please. Resolution number 18-245, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, recognizing Nicole Nikki Armas for her exceptional work with Feeding Pasco's Elderly. Whereas Feeding Pasco's Elderly, FPE, was formed in 2014 with the mission of securing supplemental funding for Pasco County Senior Services to provide nutritious meals to our food insecure senior citizens. And whereas since its inception, Ms. Armas has served a vital role in FPE's success. And whereas Nikki's organizational and marketing finesse has resulted in several extremely successful FPE fundraising events. And whereas with Ms. Armas took on the challenge of managing the Land O'Lakes Senior Center Commercial Kitchen project with $250,000 in state legislative funding. And whereas Nikki also manages all aspects of grants from United Way, the Broderick Family Foundation, and others to secure funding and distribute to support the nutritional needs of our seniors. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board wishes to extend their gratitude and recognition to Nicole Nikki Armas for her extraordinary work with Feeding Pasco's Elderly and her dedication to our senior neighbors. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting on this 21st day of August 2018.
Move approval.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Did you want to, don't want to put you on the spot, but we're going to.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It's an honor to work with all of you and to make a difference. Thank you.
Okay. If board members, if you don't mind coming down, we can congratulate her and obviously the board for the great job. Thank you again. Appreciate it. How you been? Good to see you.
You guys want to get the picture?
You hold this, young lady. I understand your parents are here. And we've got that, and we've got extra copies, okay. Come on.
Oh, my goodness.
Where'd she go? She's up front.
Did you say 4 more? Is that what I heard? 4 more?
All right, thank you very much. Great job, guys. Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone here for resolution number 2, Kimberly Price and the Human Services Division team? Please step up to the podium.
Come back. Thought you was running up the door.
Okay.
Can't leave.
Resolution number 18-242, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, recognizing Kimberly Price and the Human Services Division team for the devotion to service of our community. Whereas the Human Services Division, led by Kimberly Price, Director of Community Services, is responsible for assisting and coordinating community resources to improve the overall quality of life for those Pasco citizens in need. And whereas they often go into the field to serve citizens that are in dire need of shelter, safety, and other forms of emergency assistance, which many times results in staff facing formidable circumstances. And whereas among numerous accomplishments, Ms. Price and the Human Services team have rescued women from human trafficking, assisted with rehousing dozens of families caught in the circumstances beyond their control, provided resources to keeping electricity from being turned off to families in need, and ensured household displacement during Hurricanes Irma and Hermine, had food and shelter. And whereas by using her wits, courage, and passion to serve, the team regularly confronts intimidating situations to provide these services and many others to our neighbors in critical need. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board wishes to extend its gratitude and recognition to Kimberly Price and the Human Services Division team for their acts of courage and commitment to serving those in need in our community. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 21st day of August 2018.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Kimberly, I'll say something before you say something, but we certainly, and I speak for all of us, we certainly appreciate everything you do in your team and reaching out to those in the homeless for that human trafficking to try to help them. I was concerned because within probably 24, 48 hours, they were back out, and which is disheartening, but I talked to Kelly Sin of Sunrise Domestic Violence, and it takes 5 and 6 and many times of trying to help them till they realize they can trust and believe in those that are helping them. So I commend you and your team for all the service you do for that, because it's reaching out beyond and above. So thank you. And if I could, real quick. You know, there has been a dozen situations I can think of, you know, since you've been the whole time you've been with us, and your team has done an unbelievable job to help others. You know, I've never once had anyone say no. It's always, let me see what we can do, Commissioner, even if it's working with other nonprofits to make it happen, to help anywhere from a veteran in need to the homeless. It's unbelievable what you and your team are able to do with quite frankly, with the small team you have. So I want to truly say thank you. And again, you know, yeah. Commissioner Mariano?
I echo the same sentiment. Tremendous team you have. The job you guys do is phenomenal. We greatly appreciate it.
Kathy Pearson, Assistant County Administrator, Public Services. Kim Price and Human Services team. Kim, a few years ago you said, if I take this job, I will change it and make it bigger and better than you'll ever have seen. And I am so passionate for what they do each and every day, and I just want to say publicly thank you to this team. And Kim, you're a wonderful leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly, if you'll say a few words, and I'll get all the commissioners to come down, we'll take a picture.
I just want to thank my team. I couldn't do it without them. As you see, they're out in the field today. We didn't even wrangle them up to come here because the citizen comes first. So every one of them they're on appointments, and it's a very small team, but we make a big impact. And I tell them every single day you change someone's life, and that's what they love to do. Davia, you want to say a couple words?
You can. No pressure.
I will say them for her. Davia is our organizer. She's the first person that takes that call. No one calls Human Services that isn't in a crisis. We don't get, calm callers. They're elevated and they're in crisis. So Davia does a phenomenal job of working that through and assigning it to the case managers. So thank you, Davia. Thank you.
The board join me down front. Sure. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I'll take it back. probably stay in the front. Yes.
I may end up with a degree in basketball. I don't care. Sweet.
You want P3?
Yep. If anyone is here for RS3, please come to the podium. This is for Marjorie's Hope Corporation. Resolution number 18-244, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, recognizing Marjorie's Hope Corporation, Board of Directors, and volunteers for their support and assistance to the educators of Pasco County. Whereas Marjorie's Hope is a not-for-profit corporation created by Debbie Schakowsky in celebration of her sister Marjorie, an extremely active volunteer within the schools who was tragically killed by a drunk driver in 1996. And whereas initially Marjorie's Hope focused on providing children school supplies and toys to help ensure a strong foundation for a happy and successful life. And whereas Marjorie's Hope has also provided over 2,000 backpacks with school supplies and clothing, utilizing a kid's closet for children attending local schools. And whereas Marjorie's Hope recognized a need for local teachers in the community who often use their own money to buy classroom items and supplies. And whereas Marjorie's Hope, in an effort to give back and thank educators for their dedication, creating a pop-up boutique in 6 days where teachers could try on clothes and shop for free for back-to-school clothes. And whereas with the help of volunteer project managers, Sophia Edwards and Nikki Burke and others volunteered, the boutique was open the week prior to the beginning of school. And whereas the boutique provided 237 educators and support staff the opportunity to shop, and 1,410 clothing items with 487 accessories were given to shoppers. Shoppers traveled from as far as Zephyr Hills, San Antonio, Dade City, Wesley Chapel, and Lacucci. And whereas Marjorie's Hope Boutique is currently a seasonal effort with the future goal of remaining open all year long with the help and support of the Pasco County school system, and is seeking clothing donations for adults to help more teachers in the future. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board recognizes Marjorie's Hope Foundation, Board of Directors, and the volunteers for their support and assistance to the educators of Pasco County, and encourages all residents to support Marjorie's Hope in future endeavors. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 21st day of August 2018.
So I would move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, you can just tell by listening to that what an amazing, is this on? What an amazing program this is. And Debbie, before I come down, I'd like you and the girls to talk about what you've done this year and about the boutique, so that everyone can really understand the magnitude of what you've done.
Okay, first off, I'm Deb Schakowsky, founder, Marjorie's Hope. My sister, get a little emotional, would be incredibly proud today for what we represented in her namesake. She loved to volunteer with children, especially children in need, and loved to volunteer for classroom teachers. However, I stand today because you can see I'm supported by an amazing group of individuals, and I don't do anything alone. I just happen to look good because of just a few of the people standing behind me. Two of those individuals were project managers who had never met prior to the event, Nikki Burke and Sophia, excuse me, Edwards. And in 6 days, these ladies not only moved a mountain, but they moved a mountain range. So a teacher, we have a clothing closet as well for children in need in Pasco County. And so a teacher reached out to me and asked if we had any clothing for teachers.
Because she needed some, right?
Because she needed them. And I asked her, typically it's just for children, but what's your story? So Reader's Digest version was, she's a single mom. She just graduated from school. She has 3 children. She's straddled in student loan debt as well as household debt. She just received her first job for Pasco County Schools, and she had no money for her first job for back-to-school wardrobe. Was there anything that we could do? With that, a private Facebook thread was created with 85 friends, teachers, administrators, school board members, those running, school reporters, and said, is this an isolated incident or is this something that is taking place in our community? And the thread went viral for days. And so with that point, without a doubt, I reached out to Nikki and to Sophia, and they'll tell you that I just told them what to do. That's not true, but nonetheless, they made magic happen, and I'm appreciative for both of those ladies. So with that, I'm going to have them come tell you the rest of the story. Sophia.
You have to give your name and your address, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Sophia Edwards, 9206 Top Neck Street, Newport Richey, 34654. As you just saw, she does tell us what to do, but it is with a blessing, and so incredibly thankful to be a part of Marjorie's Hope and to be a close friend of Debbie Schakowsky, who always puts everyone ahead of herself and is just incredibly selfless. As far as this project goes, it is near and dear. Our educators they form our future, and it's not just our educators, but it's all of the education professionals, everyone who is student-facing every single day and making sure that those children have the best opportunity at life, which then puts them in the very seats that you're in today or beyond. So they are critical to our success, and this was a great opportunity for us to just wrap our arms around our education professionals and say, thank you. You matter. We appreciate you. And come have fun. Come shop and start your year off great. Because if they feel successful and appreciated, production equals morale, morale equals production. And I feel like we, as a team, as a community, as a county, we achieved that. Right now, you can't get through my front door because people know where I live, and they keep dropping things off. And so literally can't get in my front door, and my garage is starting to fill up. So just so you know. So that just shows the love and appreciation that we have for our educators, and all the more reason that we need to keep this project going.
Well, luckily for me, Sophia said most of it. I'm just honored to be a part of this and happy that Debbie called me that day, even though Sophia can attest to this. Some of our late nights, 11 p.m., trying to design this boutique and get it ready and get it perfect. I was probably a little bit stressed there, but this was really amazing. We wanted to provide this for teachers so that they didn't have to choose between having an appropriate wardrobe or purchasing school supplies for their students, because a lot of times teachers that come in, they walk into an empty classroom and they not only have to buy supplies for themselves to be able to teach their classroom, but a lot of times they're going to have students come in there that come in with nothing. And 10 times out of 10, if a teacher is asked to purchase for herself or purchase for her students, she's going to purchase for her students. So this was our way to really give back to them and let them have an amazing shopping experience. And it was overwhelmingly successful. So it just goes to show that there's a real need. And our goal is to keep this going and hopefully make it year-round.
So understand, they pulled this off within like 1 week's notice. They had this boutique for 6 days, donated by Steve Jensen. We should thank Steve. Yeah. Can you tell them how many items of clothing went out? Do you remember the numbers off the top of your head?
So Steve and Rita Jensen, longtime supporters of Marjorie's Hope back when we were unknown and unnamed, and continued to support us each year. They donated $25,000 in, I just call it Lula clothing because they tell me I pronounce it wrong, but LuLaRoe clothing items, 500 pieces of clothing alone just from them came in. In addition to, they gave us the unit, 800 square foot. It was a shell, and the pictures were just beautiful. It was upscale, shabby chic, stellar quality, and
How many pieces did the teachers take?
we gave out 1,410 articles of high-quality clothing, new or used, as well as 487 articles of accessories, shoes, purses, jewelry. 200, and it's actually now 249 teachers and support staff, because it was also open to other people that were employed by the school system to partake and receive that.
And we think that this is the first one in the country.
We were told by 2 reporters that when they Googled us that that they gave us kudos. They Googled us, and we're the first of its kind in the United States. No other person has ever done this for teachers. And like I said to the reporter, you know, I'll take pride. I'm almost 60 years old. I still remember the names of my teachers in my early education years, and how many of you today can say the same thing? Okay, good and or bad. So before we recognize, and I have a son-in-law here visiting today who is the U.S. Air Force from Virginia, and he's a hero, and more like them. But before he could become a hero and others like him, he had to have a teacher in his life that made him become a hero or allowed him to be. And we forget about that. We wanted these teachers in Pasco County to know they are truly our heroes. And last is I want to introduce 2 of my board members, Caroline McCormick, George Wholesale Tires, Andrea Orndorff, who is actually the daughter of Marjorie, and my right and left hand, who never gets any credit, my husband, John Schakowsky.
All right, with that,
Thank you so much.
I'd like to invite the board down for photos. Okay, we've got 3 that are framed, and then we have some to get to whoever else you think.
Was to Sophia, okay, my project manager, Nikki, my project manager, without letting her take place. Here's some extra ones for you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we might come to see you.
We didn't even talk about, what's her name? Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh, Ellen, yeah, we're sending your video to Ellen. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You guys, no, you just, you're good. You don't matter.
Just give you like this side eye, like mean mug.
One day get the other one will.
All right. Great job.
Oh, the little boy kept hiding behind the picture. Or the frame, when it looked behind it.
P4, or no, RS4.
Anyone here for RS4?
Harriet and
Harriet
your family,
Prager?
come on up.
Resolution number 18-241, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, commending Harriet Prager for her volunteerism at the Regional Medical Center Bayonet Point and congratulating her on receiving the President's Lifetime Achievement Award by the President of the United States. Whereas, yes, yes. Whereas Harriet Prager, a 91-year-old volunteer at Regional Medical Center Bayonet Point since 1999, where she has logged over 17,500 volunteer hours at the hospital.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And whereas currently Harriet volunteers in the post-anesthesia care unit and serves on the awards committee. She previously has worked in the surgical waiting room, emergency department, and has served on the scholarship committee for 20 years. As director at large on the Volunteer Association from 2009 to 2011, Coast Health and Education Foundation as vice president. And whereas Harriet has received both the 5-Star Award for going above and beyond in 2007 and Volunteer of the Year in 2015 from the Volunteer Association of Regional Medical Center Bayonet Point. And whereas Harriet's volunteer efforts have proved invaluable to Regional Medical Center Bayonet Point in providing care and improvements of human life. And whereas Harriet received the President's Lifetime Achievement Award from President Trump. The President's Lifetime Achievement Award is awarded to those who contribute more than 4,000 hours of service in their lifetime. And whereas Harriet received from the President's Call to Service Award certificate, signed by the President, a letter of congratulation from President Trump, and a beautiful pin commemorating this achievement. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby commends Harriet Prager for her volunteerism at Regional Medical Center Bayonet Point, congratulates her on being the recipient of the President's Lifetime Achievement from President Trump, and thanks her for serving our community. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 21st day of August, 2018.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, Ms. Prager?
I'd like to thank you all for this honor. It is a great honor. Being a volunteer for the past 20-some years has been very enriching. You all should try it. It really.
Spare time, right?
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
And I'd also like to thank Dr. Musanuro for being here and helping with the presentation. He has performed many miracles at Bayonet Point, and there are many people today that are thanking him that they're alive and well.
Yep.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, you remind me, Ms. Prager? Oh, yeah. You remind me of my grandmother. My grandmother, God bless her, she passed away when she was 95. She was actually in the hospital back in 92, which Dr. Musanaro, you and your team did a great job training her. And she used to love serving people. At the age of 92, I remember sitting talking with her, and she'd talk about how she loved to serve to try to help the old people. So greatly appreciate your service. I know you've got more family members. You'd like to bring them up. Board, if you join me, we'd love to acknowledge her.
I'd like to say that my daughters are here from all over the country just for this occasion.
That's awesome. Definitely bring them. Please, bring everybody up.
Great job. Keep up the good work. Good to see you. Are you all right? Yes.
I nominated her for the role.
Terrible.
No, she assists with our recovery with all of our patients.
Yeah. One more.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. You used to make a vacation of this? That's awesome. Okay. Well, hopefully it doesn't rain too much, right? Oh, there's Lou back there. I see Lou hiding back there. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Louis Vanacore, you're needed at the podium. Resolution number RS5.
I know your better half's here. Make sure she comes up with you. So. Oh, this isn't on, is it? Just kidding. Yeah, and if the entire team wants to come up, obviously. Family, everybody.
Team and family, you're needed at the podium.
Team and family, team. I know there's some team back there.
We see you in gray and blue.
We know you're hiding back there. Come on.
Resolution number 18243, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, commending Louis Vanacore for 27 years of dedicated service to Pasco County and congratulating him on his retirement. Whereas on January 28, 1991, Louis Vanacore began his career with the Pasco County as a Climate Control Technician 1, and this year ended his career as a Maintenance Technician 3 with the Facilities Management Department.
Sorry.
Paparazzi.
Yeah.
And whereas Louis has earned respect from all county departments, including Fire Rescue and the Pasco County Sheriff's Department, and whereas evidenced daily by an outstanding work ethic, Louis has proven himself to be an invaluable asset to those he served, whether it be coworkers or citizens, with his positive attitude. And whereas Louis worked diligently on many of the county's AC units to keep us all comfortable in our environments. And whereas Louis was not only a maintenance technician, he was a dedicated employee who took pride in his work, and most importantly, he was a great friend to those that worked with him. And whereas on July 11, 2018, Louis officially retired from the Pasco County Facilities Management Department and will be greatly missed by his coworkers and the citizens he served. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby commends Louis Vanacore for 27 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Pasco County, congratulates him on his retirement, and wishes him well in his future endeavors. Done and resolved in regular session with the quorum present and voting this 21st day of August 2018.
Move approval.
All in favor?
Aye. Now, I'm looking at this gentleman saying, how can this guy be retiring? He's just getting started over here. But, Lou, your whole team, just tremendous service you've given the county over the years, always with a super positive attitude every step of the way, whatever was needed to be done. You guys are always there taking care of everything that needed to be done. So I greatly appreciate you for all that you've done.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, can I jump in? And I'm going to miss you, man, because, just a friendly, outgoing person. I mean, I tell you what, every board meeting, it was a joy to see you. You'd always ask how I was doing, how the family was doing. If I needed anything, you're just a great person, and I know you're with a great team, and I just hope people learn from you in the future that this is the type of employee that we need here in Pasco County, and we thank you. Thank you. Well, you'll be missed. You really will.
If I could real quick, and I've known you since before you worked at the county. I know you're only 40 years old, so just throwing it out there. But obviously, and your lovely wife, thank you both for your service to Pasco County. And Commissioner Moore said it, but when I look at employees and what I expect from our team, and again, we have an unbelievable team here at Pasco County. You're exactly that. I mean, you know who you work for, which is the residents of the county. You are always smiling, enjoying your job, doing whatever it takes to make things happen. And I can tell you that we've honored several folks since I've been in office, and I've never seen this many employees here. So it talks about your impact to you and your team. So thank you. And I'm going to get choked up, but thank you for everything you've done. It really is. You truly, and you're again, the team is unbelievable too. Now, what's Rudy going to do without you is what I want to know. Just saying. So you want to say a couple words?
Well, thank you all. I really enjoyed my time working here at Pasco. It was a beautiful experience. I'll never forget. Met beautiful people. Loved working, loved doing my job. It's not too often that you can get paid for doing something you love to do. And I'm going to miss it, but I'm always available. I told the guys if they ever run into something, they could call me up there. I just miss it, but I just got to heal up a little bit from over the years. The body breaks down a little bit. And once I get better, I'll be around. And that woman that was here before that volunteered, I could see myself doing that. I really could, because that's what I am all about. And I really missed all you guys, and you'll always be in my heart, all of you guys in the work. We just love being here. And any volunteering I could do, I will do.
Okay.
Thank you so much for everybody, and it's a pleasure working with you.
Now, with your complete entourage, we're going to have to probably line up all around through here. The commissioners can stay up here, but we'll go down and greet them first.
Stay up here and then we'll come down and say thank you.
We're going to greet them first, and we'll take a picture.
We'll come down and see you in a second. We'll take this picture with you first.
Yeah, I was going to say a little more, but I wanted to go ahead and cut it off short.
I like to know if did we shut down that department or what's the deal?
It looks like it.
Yeah, why is it so hot in here right now?
Hey, get back to work, will you? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Why is nothing working in this whole building right now?
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody's here.
It is kind of nobody's working.
Everybody's here. That's why I was.
It is kind of hot in here.
Today.
Hang on, wait for Commissioner Mariano.
Get him while he's walking upstairs.
Yeah. We're moving. Okay.
We're gonna do one for close.
Hope everybody's eyes were open.
Yeah, at least say 1, 2, 3 or something. You know?
Didn't ask you that.
I thought CT would have trained you better than that.
He's not even here anymore.
He left, yeah.
Thank you.
Wait, Ralph.
Come on, Ralph. Come on, Ralph.
Jeez.
Oh, Ralph's gonna try a different
Ralph's
angle.
gonna try something new, huh?
All right.
Hey.
Okay, good.
Have to do the panoramic.
Come here, big guy. All you guys are Oh, yeah. You can sell
Oh, okay, I'll worry about it. You must have heard this too.
Oh, yeah, I'm there. This is awesome. I read it this morning.
Thank you all, thank you so much.
Love you guys. See you.
So 6, because it's relevant to the project.
Yep, I know.
Do it.
Okay. We have 4 or 5 more resolutions, anyone? We good?
I think you have one more, don't
So,
you?
well, now we're gonna see that, we're gonna hear that with P17.
Huh?
We're gonna hear that one later.
Oh, okay. Whatever you say. Later's good.
P1?
Okay, we will now proceed with the public hearing agenda, starting with item P1 of ordinances. Madam Clerk, do we have proof of item P1?
Yes, we do. Tampa Bay Times, May 2018.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Amy Heiler, Planning and Development.
You can hear Louie out there. Always happy.
All right, so this item P1 is the adoption hearing for a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment in the name of CPAL 1709 Morgan Road Park. I will now read the ordinance into record, or ordinance title into record. An ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, Map 2-15 and Sheet 20, changing from IL to COM, IL Light Industrial to COM Commercial on approximately 10.48 acres, being parcel ID number 25-26-18, 0000 02800 On June 19th, the Board of County Commissioners heard and approved transmittal to DEO. The Department of Economic Development and other reviewing agencies concluded on August 15th that there are no comments or objections to the land use change. The subject site is located in south central Pasco County within the South Market area. The proposal to amend the future land use is in order to bring the existing zoning and accompanying rezoning from R2, low-density residential, to C2, general commercial within the proposed FLU change in accordance with Policy FLU 1.5.2, conflicting zonings. The surrounding future land use consists of ROR, retail office residential, IL, light industrial, and Res 6. The surrounding zoning is primarily low-density residential, general commercial, and light industrial. The surrounding land uses are primarily vacant, residential, and commercial. The comprehensive plan consistency, the proposed land use change is consistent with Policy FLU 1.5.2, conflicting zonings, and is also consistent with Policy FLU 1.6.2, the location of commercial development, as well as Policy FLU 1.2.3, Category 1 wetlands and incompatible uses. So with that, we recommend approval and adoption of the ordinance by roll call. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Any questions, board members? Okay, this is a public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up for P1. If you'd like to speak on P1, please come forward. Seeing no one, it's to the board.
Seeing no one, move for approval.
Second. Okay, this is a roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 4, Chairman Wells.
Aye. Motion carries. Good morning. Do we have proof for P2? Or good afternoon, sorry.
Yes, we do. Tampa Bay Times, July 27th, 2018.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Denise Hernandez, Planning and Development. Item P2 is PDD 181299, and this is the first reading on the item. So today we ask that you accept public comment. The adoption hearing is scheduled for September 4th, 2018, 1:30 in Dade City. So before you is an ordinance by the Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, amending Section 402.5A, temporary uses to provide for mobile food operations, amending Appendix A definitions, providing for applicability, repealer, severability, inclusion into the Land Development Code, and an effective date. So the reason why this is before you today is because the Land Development Code is silent on mobile food operations. So mobile food operations include preparation, cooking, and or sale of food, live plants, or produce. So most of the aspects of mobile food operations are regulated at the state level. The proposed ordinance provides for a legal, safe, and sanitary operation of mobile food operations. And it includes standards for mobile food operations in commercial zones, in residential zones, on county property, and mobile food truck courts, which would be a permanent mobile food operation. So this item was presented to the local planning agency on August 9th. The local planning agency found the proposed amendments consistent with the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan and recommended approval of the amendments to the board. There was only two changes made by the local planning agency, and the two changes that were made, one is defining the mobile food operation that is not functioning out of a stand. It was changed from 60 days to 90 days, the temporary nature of it, and then also to include allowance for mobile food operations in mixed-use portions of a master plan. Those are the two changes that were made by the local planning agency. Those changes are supported by staff, so staff recommends that you take public comment. I'm here for any questions you may have on the item, and again, this is scheduled for adoption on September 4th.
Questions for Denise?
No questions.
I'm so excited that we're getting this going, and I would move for
Well, you gotta
approval
wait
after
for the
public
public
hearing.
comment.
After public comment.
Real quick, I spent some
Oh,
time.
no voting today. Okay, that's right.
I spent some time downtown in New Richey, and I know they're I believe, waiting to see kind of what we do. And I was able to talk to a couple of the business owners that had some concerns, some good questions, and I believe they got answered, at the Planning Commission. But have we done any, public outreach to kind of
So the
talk
public
to the-
outreach that we have done, and Elizabeth Blair can probably speak about that as well, is that on several occasions, probably about 3 or more occasions, we reached out to the chambers, to all the chambers, so that they can push that out to the restaurateurs and the business owners and all that. We did not get any comments. We also have been working very closely with the Tampa Bay Food Truck Rally, who are the mobile food operators who want to do this in a legal, safe way. So we did get a lot of feedback from that agency, and very, very good feedback from Mr. Blasco.
Okay, and have we met or spoken to the city of New Richey, kind of one thing I think is important, and I know we all, we're all on the same page as far as our ordinance isn't totally different than theirs, and I'm for it. I think it's a great thing. We already have some food trucks in the county that do a great job, and we need to define it. It's the right thing to do, so.
Sure.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Elizabeth Blair, Pasco County Attorney's Office. I have had a couple of conversations with the city of Zephyr Hills and Newport Richey. Zephyr Hills are very interested. They adopted an ordinance some time ago that doesn't work well, so they were really happy to see our take on it. And their Main Street folks were excited too. We have spoken with George Romanoli, who's now with Newport Richey.
Yeah. Really?
He told me that they were going to hearing with their draft, and he saw that their ordinance was very, very different from ours. It's much more regulatory in terms of being repetitive of some of the state requirements. And so I talked with George about, our take on it and our zoning take on it, and whether or not, you could use the rights of way in Pasco, unincorporated, and so forth. So he said that, he'd be comparing the two. I don't know what he ultimately came up with. I don't think they've had a second reading yet, maybe just the one discussion.
I believe so too, and
I
I can think of Tarpon Springs, when I go down there on a Friday night when they have the food truck rally, there's still, the businesses are there, they're still packed, people are going out to the truck, so it's a great thing. I just want to make sure that we're including them, because we all should be the same. You shouldn't have to go into City of New Richey and it'd be different than the county and Zephyr Hills, Dade City. We should all try to do the same. I just want to make sure that they're all included.
Right. Well, and then the other meetings that I've had have dealt with the fire chiefs and our fire marshal together.
Okay, good.
Talking about how they wanted to make sure they were on the same basis when it came to what standards that they would be looking at. And then also we had conversations with John Moore out in Dade City, and he was very interested. Now, none of the chambers responded back with any comments or concerns. So we did try, I tried personally on 4 occasions. I sent out an email blast with the ordinance attached to it. So we haven't heard, but we'd love to hear from them if they have comments.
Okay.
Thank
And I
you.
haven't heard, like I said, I haven't heard really anything. They just had some questions, but again, I think it's exciting for the county. So, okay,
Mr.
thank
Chairman?
you. Commissioner Moore.
Yeah, so I mean, I've only received letters or emails of support for this
Right.
myself. Some of the local breweries, would be very beneficial to them that do not serve food on site. You look at what happens in some of the surrounding counties. I know, a lot of us, some of us travel throughout the year and for vacations and things, and I see it all over different parts of the nation, especially in, I like to say, upcoming hip areas. Food trucks are popular. And we can't even have them in our county building right now, so, I mean, right? So,
5th, September 5th.
yes, that's what I'm, yes. But right now, we can't even have one parked out in front of our county building legally, so this is only going to benefit the community as a whole, I feel. But you got to take public comment, but there's no vote today.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. This is a public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up for this item. If you would like to speak on this item, please come forward. Okay, seeing no one, we will move on to.
Mr. Chairman, just to make a quick comment about it as well. I think it'll be very beneficial, especially now the county's taken over the SunWest Park, because they've talked about doing food rallies up there, food truck rallies up there, and I think there's a very opportune place for them up there as well.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Denise. Okay, next we will proceed with the procedures for rezoning. Mr. Stein-Snyder, please review the procedures for rezoning.
Be happy to, Mr. Chairman. There are 2 rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended approval and there's no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If the staff or Planning Commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or Planning Commission recommendation, or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is that mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found in the board's land development code. I understand the chairman has approved a different time allotment for P17, which will be explained at that hearing.
I do.
Okay.
For those individuals who are here to speak upon items P3 through P17, so the remainder of the agenda, please stand and raise your right hand. Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, P3.
Do you want to?
Oh, yeah, proof for P3, Madam
Okay,
Clerk.
Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018.
Thank you. Denise Hernandez, Planning and Development. P3 is PD 18, CU 31. This is a conditional use, B&Z Port Richey, Gables, Gulf View. This is the applicant is requesting a continuance to September 4th, 2018, Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 in Dade City.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Move to continue September 4th, 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. P4, do we have proof?
We do not have proof.
Okay.
Are we certain?
My team, are we certain? Yes.
So that may be the reason why I'm here today, asking for a continuance,
Okay.
because there's
There you
no
go.
proof.
Okay.
Okay. So item P4 is PDD 180979. It's a development of regional impact, essentially built-out agreement for the Gulfview Square Mall DRI number 215. The applicant is requesting a continuance to September 4th, 2018 BCC meeting at 1:30 in Dade City.
Move to continue time certain.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, today we have 7 public hearing items on the consent agenda. These items will be approved with one vote without a presentation unless there is someone here in objection. Items P5 through P11 are on consent agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have proof?
Yes. Item P5, proof was published in the Tampa Bay Times, July 20th, 2018. P6, Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018. P7, Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018. P8, Tampa Bay Times, July 20th, 2018. P9, Tampa Bay Times, June 20th, 2018. P10, Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018. P11, Tampa Bay Times, August 10th, 2018.
Good afternoon, Denise Hernandez, Planning and Development. Item P5 is PDD 187242, and it is in the name of Gator Shop. This is a zoning amendment from R1MH, Single Family Mobile Home, and C3 Commercial Light Manufacturing Districts to a C3 Commercial Light Manufacturing District. This item comes to you with a recommendation of approval from both the Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of this item? Seeing no one, leave on consent.
Item P6 is PDD 187331, the name of David L. and Betty E. Pearl. It's a zoning change from an AR Agricultural Residential District to a C2 General Commercial District, and this comes to you with a recommendation of approval from the Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
Is there anyone here to speak in objection to this item? Seeing no one, it'll stay on consent.
Item P7 is PDD 187334 in the name of Ballantrae Professional Center Owners Association Incorporated and others. This is a zoning amendment from PO1 Professional Office District to a PO2 Professional Office District. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval from both the Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay. So we need to,
You can pull it off, you can either listen to his comments now or pull it off a consent and do a full presentation.
do we want to just listen to his comments real quick and then, please come forward, sir, and have you been sworn?
Yes, I have.
Okay, name and address for the record,
My name is
please.
Gary Casper, 16124 Vanderbilt Drive, Odessa, Florida, 33556. I own 2 buildings in Ballantrae. The Association Management Company sent me a document asking me to vote for this rezoning request. I deliberately voted against this rezoning with my 2 votes. They claimed that relaxing the tenant restrictions would increase the value of our buildings. Of course, that is not true. We are currently rated as a Class B complex, one step below the most desirable rating of Class A. A further drop to Class C would lower the values of my building substantially. The Association Management Company remains the same as when this entire complex was bank-owned. As they are the leasing agent for several buildings, they are conflicted and are applying for this rezoning request directly against the interests of all the owners of the buildings. I object to the very fact that there is a hearing today, as I have never received the results of the rezoning request vote, nor did we have an owners meeting confirming the results of the vote. I find it rather strange that the association was able to reach a supermajority, especially with my 2 dissenting votes, and the difficulty of even obtaining votes from the members of any association. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. It's to the board. Do we want to?
I mean, to be honest with you, I know it's not my district, I'd like to hear a little bit more. This is the first time anything like this has ever come up in front of us where you have owners of a building be part of a rezoning. I've never seen that of an office building. This first time
This
has
is,
come across this?
maybe we can talk about it when we pull it. It's
Right.
condo platted, so that's why you have building owners in that fashion.
Okay, well, let's
So
go
who's,
ahead.
so can I keep asking?
Commissioner Moore.
So again, so you have, it says Ballantrae Professional Center Owners Association is the one asking for the rezoning.
Yes.
So this gentleman came up and said he owns a building, a single, you can't talk from the audience, just to let you know, so.
2 buildings.
He owns 2 buildings, and they are not connected to the other buildings. These are the individual condo buildings,
Yes,
correct?
individual condo buildings.
Yeah, this seems odd to me.
I'll pull it and have discussion. as well.
Yeah, I think we need to, pull it and have the discussion at the end.
We need a motion for that, correct?
No, you just need to pull it from your consent agenda.
Okay.
Excuse me. Item P8 is PDD 187340 in the name of Stern and Lori Summers. It's a zoning amendment from C2 General Commercial District to R2 Low Density Residential District. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval from both the Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition of this item? Seeing no one, it will remain on consent.
Item P9 is PDD 18-CU26. This is an operating permit and conditional use for Borough Pit and an MPUD for Bexley Land Trust. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval from both the, approval with conditions rather, from both the Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
Is there anyone here that wishes to speak in opposition to this item? Seeing no one, it will remain on consent.
Item P10 is PDD 18-CU33, Vista Investments LLC, Capital Tacos. This is for the sale of alcoholic beverages, beer and wine only, on-premises consumption in conjunction with the operation of a restaurant in a C2 General Commercial District. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval with conditions from Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition to this item? Seeing no one, it will remain on consent.
Great tacos, by the way.
Yes. In my district, but hey.
Hey, yeah, well,
Paying like crazy.
both of them. No.
Yeah, I got them down the roof of my house.
got
They're great.
Item P11 is OMB 18-0032. This is a request for approval of a grant application from the Pasco Sheriff's Office, Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program Fiscal Year 2018 application, CFDA number 16.738.
Okay, is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition to this item? Seeing no one, it will remain on consent. Okay, we need approval for those.
You would approve your consent agenda, but for P7.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, except for P7.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. P7, Denise.
All right, so P7 is PDD 187334. This is in the name of Ballantrae Property Professional Owners Center Owners Association Incorporated and others. It's a zoning amendment from PO1 Professional Office District to PO2 Professional Office District. I do want to mention that going PO2 allows them to do every single use in PO1 and then add some additional uses, including private schools, post office, government buildings, and things some barber shop, beauty salons, flower shops, those type of things. And I do want to say that this particular zoning amendment also had a corresponding comprehensive plan amendment that came to the board earlier this year, late last year. So it's located in south central Pasco County on the south side of State Road 54 at the intersection of Honeybow Circle and State Road 54. As you can see, it's been condo platted. Currently, it's PO1, and it's across the street from one of the fire stations on State Road 54. This is the subject site. It's basically essentially built out. There are some building pads that are still under construction. Surrounding zoning, across the street, you've got PO2, you've got master plan unit development districts surrounding it, State Road 54 to the north. Future land use, as I explained, there was a comprehensive plan amendment to office OFF land use. That came to you, it was either late last year or early this year. It's in the South Market area. And they're asking to rezone to PO2, Professional Office District, to bring the property into conformance with PO2. We did notice, as we look through that area, and this has been going on for a couple of years, back when Matt Armstrong was here as well, that there are uses within that area, including like, there's like music lessons and things that I can think of off the top of my head. There's kind of like a semi-spa in there and different instructional uses, which are PO2 uses, where the tenants are already there and have been, it appears, functionally operating out of that location for a long time. So the realtor who was working on this parcel about 2 years ago or so came to us and said, you know, we really need this to be PO2 because, again, we already have tenants in here, lessors, people who are leasing the property in here that are already doing PO2 uses. And we said, well, PO2, you need office land use, and hence a comp plan amendment was brought before you for office. And we think it's consistent with the character of the area, the existing area, and we were recommending approval of the zoning amendment.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Moore.
So, yeah, I'm familiar with what, PO2 is. At the same time, so the gentleman that came up, and this is, again, the first I've heard of this,
Same with us.
Yeah, same with you. Okay. He owns a building.
He does.
So we're allowing somebody else to make a decision for the zoning of his office space that he owns himself. So I think back to, that's not what he bought into, that's not what he purchased.
Right.
So who am I to tell him that he's gonna change his zoning for something he doesn't want? That's my issue.
Understand.
I understand, I think things like music lessons and things, listen, if it's professional office, whatever, but again, my issue just comes to the situation. He doesn't want his building that he owns, that he invested his hard-earned money for, the zoning to change. So I'm not gonna back this. I mean, he doesn't want to change the zoning. He doesn't want to change the zoning. He owns it.
The one that makes me nervous is school. School could go back there, and that seems not quite compatible with an office next door.
Yeah, see,
To me.
I agree. You and I, we're kind of on separate pages, though, at the same time. He doesn't want the zoning of his building that he owns. That's my issue.
Yeah.
To me, we should take the other things into consideration. He
Mr.
doesn't want his
Chairman.
building.
Is the applicant here?
That was my question.
I think the applicant, you need to hear from the applicant, and then you can go back to board discussion.
My name's Stacy Mixon.
Can you lift that up?
Supposed to say my address too.
Yes, your name and address for the record.
Stacy Mixon, 4342 Tarkington Drive, Land O'Lakes, Florida, 34639.
And have you been sworn?
Yes.
Okay.
This property, in essence, was originally zoned as a PO1, then it was changed to a PO2 years ago. If you look at property appraiser's website, all these properties are already zoned PO2 according to the website. We're just actually trying to bring it to everything over. What happened was one of the builders went to go build, and they were told by the building permitting that it's a PO1. So when you look at property appraisers and everything else, it's all PO2. And a lot of the owners purchased under the assumption that it was a PO2. Tenants are in there that are supposed to be PO2. And now we're at a standstill because it's not a PO2 in essence. And the only department that has it as not a PO2 is the building department.
Who do you represent?
Ballantyre Professional Center.
So you're the management company?
Yes, we're the management company, but we didn't bring this on. This was brought on by the board and owners in the park. We had a letter sent out, and we have over 20 of the owners have signed off and said they want this to be a PO2.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. So you're the management company. You're not, how do you represent the owners?
We're hired by the owners to manage the common area of the property.
So this is a quasi-judicial proceeding. How are you representing the owners? Do you have agent authorization?
Yes, Maggie McGrath does.
Okay. So you've not been able to find a rezoning resolution that that zones this property as PO2? You said it was originally PO2.
It was originally PO2. It was a PO1, and then it was changed to PO2 because Imagine School was in the back of the complex. And then they left it as a PO2. And Imagine School left, but then a lot of the owners there are running PO2 businesses out of their buildings. There's owners of buildings that are PO2 businesses. We've got a yoga studio in there that owns their property. We have a spa that owns their property. There's tenants, there's an autism center in there that.
Well, you wouldn't be going through this proceeding if you didn't already if you weren't in PO1. And so I'm going to ask the zoning administrator to answer the question because.
So to answer the question, and that's correct, in 2008, the Board of County Commissioners approved a rezoning to PO2 only for the Imagine Charter School, and it was on a limited basis. Then in 2010, the board extended that rezoning to PO2 for the Imagine School to increase the number of students. Then there was a further extension in 2011 until they built their site on Sun Lake, and that was to expire January 21st, 2012. So it was PO2 from 2008 through 2012, and then went back to PO1.
Oh, man.
May I ask a question? The gentleman that was up here, when did he move into his building?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't mind if you come up.
No,
We have the applicant.
This is
right
the
now.
applicant's
Oh, wait,
presentation.
let me ask the
You need to sit
applicant.
down, sir,
Because
please.
you probably, do you know when that gentleman moved in?
I don't exactly know when he moved in.
Okay.
And to further clarify the PO2, it was only PO2 specific use for a charter school. It wasn't PO2 across the board. It was a specific use PO2.
Does the property appraiser's office show that?
Probably not. I would say it
Just
would
PO2
just
for
show
the whole
PO2.
thing?
Every single building.
So let me ask the county attorney something. Since obviously we have singled out some parcels in here to be PO2, can individual condo owners decide if they want to be PO1 or PO2? Because it looks like we've set a precedence in here.
No, there are no parcels, based on what Ms. Hernandez has just told you, there are no parcels in this project right now that have PO2.
That isn't what I said. But there were some that were PO2.
That's right, and this board made them expire.
But all those ones that are PO2 now, we could have them be, I mean, we don't want to shut down all those businesses.
No, of course not.
But they didn't
is something about his
have
building.
PO2 when they became operational.
So how do they get compliant?
Because the only thing that you permitted in PO2 was the Imagine Charter School, which has now expired, and you're back to PO1. So for them to be operating a PO2 business, this board would have to grant a rezoning. It's not just the building department that has this information. It's the property appraiser may show the wrong information on his website, but that happens. The property appraiser is not the one who is in charge of zoning. This board is.
Understand.
Interesting.
Mr. Chairman, so back to a question for the county attorney. So, actually, let me ask you a question. So you said how many people, how many tenants do you have now? Or owners? Go with owners. How many
There's
owners?
38 buildings total.
38
in the
buildings, how many
complex.
different owners?
Um,
Because I'm sure some own multiple.
over 30.
Over 30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what was the vote? Did everybody vote? Everybody participate?
Some people did not send back their letters signing off, but there was I think it was over 30 that actually, I'd have to count them up again, but
So you're saying over 30 of the 30 plus sent one back?
out of all the
in
buildings, we had over.
Support.
Yeah, we had,
And we have, and how many businesses now are operating under the assumption that it's a PO2?
Probably about
before, but the issue again came up because one of the lot owners is trying to sell, so we can't control, I mean, we can tell him what the zoning is, but he's trying to sell now and sell to different users, so probably about 4 or 5.
And we need to get your name and address for the record, too. If you're-
Yeah, Margaret McGrath, 19309 Seamus Lane, Lutz.
And have you been sworn?
Sorry?
Have you been
Yeah.
sworn? Okay.
Okay, so you had over, okay.
A lot of people did purchase during the time, I know it was a temporary for Imagine School. That was the only occupant in the park that was widely vacant, and so a lot of the people that did purchase during that temporary time. So I don't know the numbers of how many people did, but I would say over 80%.
Over how many? 80?
Yeah, a lot of them were. 80%.
That's what I said, so over 80%
20 of the buildings bank owned that was.
bought during a time when it was, it was P2 at that time. Is that correct?
It's,
Yeah.
so the property's always been PO1. In 2008, the only change was it went from PO1 to PO1 and PO2 with specific use for the Imagine Charter School. So the underlying was always PO1. The only PO2 use you can have there is the Imagine Charter School.
Mr. Chairman. The charter school, was it more than one building, or how many
Yes.
buildings?
It was
How
half
many
the
buildings was
complex.
the charter school?
About 15, maybe, approximately.
16?
15 buildings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were told that each individual owner could not come and do a rezoning for just their building. It had to be the entire complex as a whole. And it was a majority, I was told.
I see, okay. And we're not pointing fingers at you guys, trust me. We're just trying to make sure we work through this here, so.
Very confused.
Mr. Steinschneider, so who's telling them that they have to rezone the entire complex?
I have no clue.
Okay, that's an important question. Would you not agree?
That was kind of my question.
I mean,
David, do you have you been involved in the ownership
if 30
history of
doesn't
this
wanna change the
project?
zoning, let him change the zoning. He doesn't want to change the zoning, he doesn't change the zoning. That's what I said before.
I wasn't there whenever they came in for their pre-app, so I don't know who gave them this information. Maybe Denise did. The only thing I could think of is if you had a single parcel in there that was PO1, maybe staff's concern was like a spot zoning concern, but I don't know because I wasn't there.
Welcome.
Mr. Chairman,
I don't want to spend too much time on this.
at this point, I would recommend that you continue this to your next Newport Richey meeting, or really doesn't matter either side. This is sort of in the center, but without looking at the condominium documents, I don't know who the legal authority to rezone this property really would be.
I support that, so that way Denise can have time to reach out to this gentleman and work with these folks, so.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion for that?
Move to continue, Tom Sherwood, with a little more comment.
Yep. Second.
What I think,
Hold on. So I need more than,
To the next.
to the next meeting,
so you want to continue it to,
hold on.
September,
that's showing a workshop. Is it September 18th? Is
Yeah,
it September?
Hey, well, he
What's-
keeps raising his hand up there. I give it that.
Wow,
What's the Newport Richey meeting?
not the 18th,
I'm going to.
not the 25th.
Looks like it is Monday, the 17th, unless that's
Right.
changed.
Oh, yes, it
It's
is.
Monday the
yes,
17th.
correct. Yep, Monday the
I
17th.
can't remember what's on
Monday
the
the
18th.
17th
There's a
at
conflict.
1:30 or soon thereafter, as
Go
they
ahead,
may be
Commissioner.
heard.
So move to continue to Monday, September 17th.
Second. Did you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think it'd be important that all the information they've got to share with staff, such as who voted, how the vote came out, would be probably integral in the whole
Got to be
thing.
kosher from the start here. We
Yeah, I
don't-
would have liked
we
to have
don't
seen
wanna-
all
we
that
don't wanna-
information,
because
yeah.
If it's not done correctly from the
So,
beginning.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Come back.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
So, and then I see the gentleman keeps raising his hand, so why don't you, staff, you can get with him and explain the process.
Look, Was that the only gentleman in the audience that was here for that item?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Denise. Okay, now we'll proceed with the remainder of the regular public hearing items. Each item will be presented by staff and the applicant, and then I will call for public comment by subject. Item P12, Madam Clerk, do we have proof?
Yes, it was published in the Tampa Bay Times, July 20th, 2018.
Erica Wendlands, Planning and Development. Item P12, PDD 18-1362 is a waiver request in the name of TAT Civic Association, Inc. / Polish American Pulaski Incorporated. The waiver request is in accordance with the LDC Section 402.3.f.9 of the specific distance limitation for conditional use application CU 1835. The applicant is requesting a waiver of the specific distance limitation of 1,000 feet from a park. The subject site is located on the south side of Darlington Road, approximately 100 feet west of Chatelain Road. As you can see here, the park is located to the west about 245 feet east or west of the TAT Civic Association. The subject site contains a 7,500 square foot building with a 2,400 square foot patio for a total of 9,900 square feet. And this waiver request is being heard concurrently with the conditional use request CU 1835 for a social club in an R4 high density residential district. The subject site is located in southwest Pasco County within the West Market area. It's predominantly surrounded by the R4 high-density residential district, surrounded by Res 9 dwelling units per gross acre. Here is an aerial image. And with that, Planning and Development recommends approval of the waiver request. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for staff? Would the applicant or applicant's representative like to speak? You need, if you, well, you have to come up to the microphone if you want to speak. If not,
Well, they're the ones putting it in.
I think it's great.
Yeah. No, we voted on to help them with the fee.
No, that's good. That's a good thing, yeah.
Sir, please state your name, address for the
You need to
record.
be sworn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Chairman Wells, Commissioners, my name is Ron Trankel. I live at 2337 Hammer Drive in Holiday, resided there for approximately 20 years. I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the TAT Civic Association. The park in question is the Aloha Gardens Park, and that was established by the county in the late 1960s or early 70s as part of the Aloha Gardens subdivision. The park is located near the end of Darlington Road, and as you know, Darlington dead ends into a canal, so therefore there's no through traffic. The original Aloha Gardens Park shared a fence line with the TAT Civic Association. However, in approximately 15 years ago, we sold a tract of land to our west to the Gulf Coast Jewish Center, where they've now established a treatment facility. So we have a buffer zone between us and the park. The original Aloha Gardens Park clubhouse shut down, and at that time, the TAT Civic Association attempted to buy the land, buy the park from the county, but we were told that the property had been granted to the county in perpetuity, and if the park was used for anything other than a park, the land would revert back to the original heirs, so that killed that idea. The park then was used as a facility for junior football games. That unfortunately came to an end when the residents decided it was much better as a dog park, and the athletic fields became, shall we say, unplayable. The park continues to be used as a dog park, and since the opening of the J. Ben Harrell Recreation Center about 15, 16 years ago, there's been no organized activities at that Aloha Gardens Park whatsoever. In addition to that, the Tat Clubhouse property is bordered on both the east and the west by a solid 10-foot high white fence. So if you're standing at the entrance to the park and you look to our facility, all you see is a white fence, and you can't even see into our property. I have photos of that if you would care to see those. The long and the short of it is that in reality, the park is used primarily as a dog walking area, even though signage prohibits that. Very seldom, if ever, do you see anyone using it for anything else. And the granting of the waiver would not affect anybody in an adverse way. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Did we not help you with some funding to waive?
sorry,
the fee?
ma'am?
Didn't we help you guys with the waiving of a fee?
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
so we're already in support of this, I think.
I'm sorry?
I think we're already in support of this, so, yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for everything you're doing out there to
Yeah.
help that community.
I think I picked up something.
Mr.
Anyway,
Chairman.
Here you go.
You are conducting a quasi-judicial land use hearing. Whether or not you waive the fee is not relevant for this
Right,
proceeding.
right.
You need
Just
to-
reminding
you
everybody.
need to get public comment.
Did you want to say something, ma'am?
You have to state your name and address for the record and that you've been sworn.
My name, I have been sworn. My name is Anne Marie DeMaio, and I live at 3102 LeCanto Street in Holiday, 34691. I am the current president of the Tet Civic Association, and I'm also a third-generation resident of Aloha Gardens. I'm here today just to ask of your approval of the waiver of the limitation of park distance between Aloha Gardens Park and our Civic Center. We have approached the Polish American Club since they've been downsizing, and we asked them if they would be interested in utilizing our building because at the moment, we have 7,700 square feet of building space, and we're not utilizing it the way we used to, even going back 45 years when my grandparents were the original participants of utilizing the facility. We want to have the continued longevity for our civic center, which is, like, again, has been in existence for 45 years in the community. And my feeling is that I've been fighting with all my heart to keep this civic center going. Since we are just a short distance of the park, and of course the park is at the very dead-end part of Darlington Road. I just ask of you if you can consider the waiver of the limitation of park distance so we can have the social club.
I don't think there's any issues there.
yep,
So,
I think
and
you're gonna be
and
very
thank you.
happy
I've
today.
been going to that club for the last 30 years, and it's, yes, so thank you both for coming up. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
Okay,
your time.
thank you. This is a public hearing. I do not have anyone else signed up to speak on this item. If you'd like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing no one, it will conclude the public hearing. May I have a motion to approve?
Is that on consent? No.
No, we're done.
So it's in my district, and I'm very happy to make the motion to approve this waiver.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Madam Clerk. Thank you.
Can we skip the applicant testimony for the next one?
Yeah.
P13.
P13 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on July 20th, 2018.
Move for approval.
Oh, I mean, you have to read the title. Got
I
it.
wouldn't leave, guys.
So you
Guys,
have another one on the agenda?
have a
so
con-
once-
you really need your conditional use approved before you leave.
Yeah.
We're new at this.
You just got the distance waiver in the last one. You need to do what you want to do is the conditional use.
Sorry about it.
Public hearing.
Yeah. Well, it's up to you whether you want a full presentation on this or not.
No, we don't need it, but if you need to read the title, I believe.
Yeah.
Sure. Erica Wendland's Planning and Development, item P13, PDD 18 CU 35 is a conditional use request in the name of TAT Civic Association / Polish American Pulaski Association, Inc., and Planning and Development recommends approval
Okay.
with conditions.
Okay, yep. This is a public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up. If you'd like to speak in this item. Okay, seeing no one, I'll conclude it and come to the board.
This is my district, and I'm happy to make this motion, and it's great to see that, a lot of these neighborhoods are having a lot of trouble keeping these clubhouses. You saw what happened in Colonial Hills, where they had to sell theirs, so very glad they've come up with a solution to keep theirs in their neighborhood.
Yeah, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. P14, Madam Clerk.
Publication, Tampa Bay Times, July
Thank you, you're
20th,
good.
2018.
I hope we don't have to do this ever again.
Go ahead.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, go ahead, Denise.
Denise Hernandez, Planning and Development. P14 is PDD 187342. Before I start my presentation, I would like to disclose some ex partes. There was a email in favor from Dennis Derbies, who is with the Willow Bend HOA, that was sent to Commissioner Starkey, Commissioner Wells, Commissioner Oakley, and Commissioner Mariano, and I would like to move to receive and file for the clerk to have that in record.
Move to receive and file.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then there was also an email in opposition from William and Sharon Jaxheimer, who also reside in Willow Bend, and that email was sent to Commissioner Wells, and that was on August 18th. And I'd like to move and receive that into the file.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is a rezoning request in the name of Dorothy Dom Bard Trust. This is a rezoning from R4 High Density Residential District to an MF1 Multiple Family Medium Density District. The location is in south central Pasco County. It's on the north side of Willow Bend Parkway, approximately 1/2 mile east of Land O'Lakes Boulevard. This is the access to the parcels from Willow Bend Parkway. And the surrounding area is MPUD zonings with single-family homes, R4. The subject site is R4, and it has ER to the east. And the land use is Res 6 dwelling units per gross acre, the maximum density. The applicant is here to request a rezoning from R4 High Density Residential District to MF1 Multiple Family Medium Density District. And the reason for the rezoning request is the applicant is proposing single-family attached homes that will be on fee simple lots. The applicant has agreed to record a deed restriction on the property for that to be the only principal permitted use on the property. Additionally, the applicant has agreed for the actual rezoning if the board approves the rezoning today, for the zoning to take effect upon such time as the deed restriction is recorded and it's submitted to the county.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Moore.
So we're not talking about apartments?
We are not talking about apartments. Single-family attached homes.
Okay, so we're looking at townhomes?
We're looking at townhomes.
Okay.
The difference is that R4 only allows single-family detached homes on individual lots. MF1 allows townhomes. I know it's kind of scary when you hear MF1,
Right.
you think apartments,
Right.
but the applicant has agreed to record a deed restriction on the property
Yes,
that
big
limits the
difference.
principal permitted use to single-family attached homes on fee simple lots.
So that goes back to our conversation we had last meeting. We ran into a similar situation, and then everybody thought we were having apartments, because the residents that reached out to me in this situation, once again, thought it was apartments.
Yes.
And you know how I was going to vote if it was apartments. I think I've only stated it million times up here. No more apartments along 54, 56. Okay, so I'm a little more comfortable now. But we need to change that. So going forward, it's recognized that we're not talking about apartments when we do these, quote, multifamily rezonings.
I don't disagree, and Denise, I received probably 20 emails in opposition, so,
They all thought it was
and I guess
apartments.
I can ask the applicant, but what's the applicant doing to outreach to these folks?
The
Again,
applicant is here to
you know,
answer those questions.
We do take it, obviously, these emails seriously, and,
Yes.
you know, I just want to make sure that it's being addressed by them, you know, anyhow. So, any other questions for Denise? If not, we'll let the applicant come up. Okay.
Mr. Chairman and board members, thank you. Michael Horner, 14502 North Dale Mabry Highway, representing the applicant as well as the contract purchaser, Townhomes at Willow Bend LLC. Board members, in the old days, we...
You have been sworn.
And I have been sworn. Thank you.
Thank
You know, board members, I've been in this business 40 years. We always try to reach out. We always send our letters. We did that in this case. We did not receive one email, one phone call, one fax. It just had staff support. We thought we were doing the right thing. My client wants to build high-end, single-family, attached townhomes. These are 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story, 2,000 square feet, high-end furnishings, high-end design features, clubhouse, pool, amenities, starting price about $300,000. This is an ideal site. It allows for the environmental placement, sensitivity of these clusters around the wetlands. This site has pockets of fragmented wetlands, so it's an ideal opportunity for a single-family cluster attached housing. The MF1 does allow apartments. I made that very clear to the Planning Commission that we did not want apartments. We did not want stacked units. We did not want a rental community. It's not what my clients develop. Unfortunately, the MF1 did permit that. Mr. Durbus was most kind from the Willow Bend HOA. He said, look, I love what you're doing, but we just don't want rental apartments. It was suggested to do a deed restriction. My clients have executed that. We will record that upon taking title of the property in 45 days. Ms. Bowman was there, who lives to the west, also Res 6. I said, look, we will meet with you. We will show you our plans. We will lay out our documents. We want fee simple ownership. Our clients want bigger houses, but they don't want to spend their weekends maintaining lots. So half-acre, 3/4, 1-acre lots in a clustered community with fragmented wetlands. They want views. They want the double-car garage. They want the tray ceilings. They want the quartz countertops. They do not want to cut grass and maintain lots on the weekends. That's the summary. I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Any questions? And I know the one person I do have signed up for public comment is Ms. Bowman. If you'd like to come forward, and if anybody else would like to speak on this item, please come forward.
Ma'am, please state your name and address and whether you've been sworn.
My name is Teresa Leneve. I did sign up. I'm at 1503 Primwood Lane, Lutz, Florida. I've been in that residence for 15 years. That is Willow Cove. It is probably north, I guess, east to where this land development is. As far as the zoning and as far as the sign that came out, that sign, most of the people in my area was not even aware that this was happening till after the homeowners association. So we didn't have a chance to go and talk to the homeowners association. At the zoning meeting, there was about 5 or 6 people that I was understood that had left because it was said that it was dropped. Apparently it was pulled to the end of the agenda. They thought that it was dismissed, and then they left. And then somehow the developer got my email address. So I started getting emails from the developer. So I don't know how that happens. If you go into Willow Bend, it is single-family homes on single lots. Nobody is opposed to developing the way it is zoned. Go look for yourselves. It is not townhomes. We don't want townhomes. The other issue is the Willow Bend Parkway has turned into, it's hard to get out. I can't even get out of my development in the morning. There's no infrastructure to support that amount of traffic. There is a cut-through from Dale Mabry that goes all the way up to 54. I'm sure you've all been there. During rush hour, you can't even pull out. And now with the snowbirds coming down in school, it's even worse. We haven't even felt the effects of the apartments that are up on 54 yet for that cut-through that are going to come through. The other issue, too, is, of course, the animals, the gopher turtles. We see them all the time. We walk through in there. There's a lot of animals back in the area. And I know you got to do, you know, progress, whatever. The other issue is the water. Behind my house, right now, I mean, my wetlands is turned into lakefront property. The water, how is the water going to shift from that side over to us with the wetlands? We've got wetlands behind us. You cannot tell me that that's not going to affect us. I mean, right now, we are up. I just recently, in the last couple of years, got flood insurance, and I'm not in a zoned flood insurance area. I'm an RN by trade. I have been serving the state of Florida since 1982. I had an emergency at work, and every day it's getting longer and longer for me to take off because I cannot get out of my development because Willow Bend Parkway is so backed up. My understanding is it's not going to be wide until 2020, but we don't need this. Go and just go look for yourself. It's single-family homes on single lots throughout that whole area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else?
Oh, sorry. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
2 minutes. Thanks. So they're asking to change from R4 high density to the townhomes. How many lots would be available under R4?
R4.
How many homes could they build?
Under R4, remember, they're always subject to Res 6 land use.
Right.
So the Res 6 land use, getting density credits for the wetlands, they could do approximately 70 homes. Same situation in MF1. There's no increase in entitlements on this property.
Okay, so we're still talking 70.
Yes.
So there's no difference. So we're saying the same amount of traffic.
If they stay with what they're entitled with today, which is R4, they would have 70 home sites.
They would have 70 just like they do now.
Yes.
So tomorrow, in reality, how they're already zoned, they could go build 70 homes and not have to come in front of us
Yes.
because this already has the zoning.
That's correct.
Okay, so we're not looking at anything different then. So tomorrow they could go build 70, or they go build townhomes at 70. That's what it is.
Yes.
It's a wash.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah. Okay, Denise, what is the master plan for the road? Is it 2020? When is it going to be widened? Do we know?
I would defer to my folks who know about transportation here in the audience, if there are any.
I don't think Margaret's here.
Am I right?
Here comes Sir Will Poon.
That will? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, there was a lady back there, I think she wanted to speak.
I was going to say, if we have, yeah, I won't forget you, ma'am, I promise. Let me just get the answer from Will, and we'll get you up there, I promise.
Will Poon, PE, current planning. As applicant or lady said earlier, I mean, there's no immediate plan in the near future. I mean, it's just broadcast. But access management, substandard road analysis, anything associated with the site, roadway improvements will be addressed during site plan review process, so.
Okay, so we don't have it in the capital improvement for scheduled for 2020, so it's really not even scheduled.
Yes, correct.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Come on forward, ma'am. I didn't forget about you. Good afternoon.
Please state your name and address for the record and that you've been sworn.
Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Cheryl Bowman, 21841 East Willow Bend Parkway in Lutz. I'm here representing myself and my husband David. We're the adjacent property owners on the immediate west side of the proposed development. So we share a boundary. That's okay. We share a boundary of probably over 1,000 feet, but we come in through 30-foot wide access easement directly off Willow Bend Parkway, and we have about 11 acres. We've been there for almost 25 years, and we purchased the property to raise 2 children there, and they currently live with us. So what we're concerned about is obviously, our house is 32 feet from the boundary. So whatever's built there is going to be almost directly looking right into our windows. And a lot of what I saw in the proposed site plan from the Planning Commission meeting, quite a few of the buildings come right up to our driveway, and we need to be able to be assured that we'll still have ingress and egress that's continuous. Throughout this process, everybody's been coming up our driveway to come back in and look at the property. So we're already seeing the impacts of that. Getting in and off, on and off Willow Bend Parkway on the best day is a chore, and it's getting more difficult. I did say the same thing at the Planning Commission meeting, but the traffic is backed up probably over half a mile in rush hour. So And I have people coming, passing me on the right and passing me on the left at the same time when I'm turning left into the driveway. So, also, what I asked about in the last meeting, and I'll ask again here, is just to be, it's hard for us to imagine, support this when we don't know what the site plan is, but we'd like compatibility with the adjacent county.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr.
Sorry,
Moore.
No, I knew this, but the site plan, that's going to have to come back anyways.
It's not going to come back to
Or not
you.
going to come back,
Not to the
that's going to
board.
come back to the.
This is a straight, this is
Well, it's going to come back to staff, the site plan's going to come back to staff.
That's
and
correct.
It'll be, yeah,
it's administrative approval.
yeah. Right. I mean, I was, listen, I'm with somebody, and I know some people that reached out to me, thought it was apartments, so I was not going to be supportive of it. It's 70 and 70, it's a wash, there's no difference. And so they could build tomorrow 70 homes, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Mr. Chair, did we give the applicant rebuttal yet?
No, is there any other else folks that want to speak that have not spoken yet? You've already spoken, so I can't. So if applicant representative wants to come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. Michael Horner again. We did reach out. We reached out to Ms. LaFleur. I'm sorry that she may not have wanted my reach out, but I asked Denise. I saw a flurry of emails, and she was kind enough to share the email, and I sent Ms. LaFleur a nice email that said, this is what we're doing. We want to work with you. This is why we're doing it. It's going to be single-family attached, high-end, $300,000 homes. Her response is rather brief. It said, not good. We will have a large group there to oppose, and we want the same thing we have, 1-acre lots, actual houses. That was the quote. And I advised her that my clients don't want acre lots. They don't want huge houses. They can't afford half-acre and acre lots, but they do want a bigger house on a smaller lot. Ms. Bowman, I would just remind this board, has the same comp plan Res 6 on her acreage. We also reached out to her at the Planning Commission and said, we'll be happy to meet, sit down, show you our plans. We have to have a buffer. We have a 6-foot opaque fence. We have to have stormwater ponds. We have to have building setbacks. We will be far away from her house. We wish her the best. We want to be the best neighbor we can be.
What about the driveway? That was,
We don't impact her driveway. We have our own driveway. Denise, can you put up on the overhead? Yeah. So her driveway is parallel to the west of our client's property. And it is a narrow driveway. It's an easement.
How large a buffer?
The buffer has to be at least 20 feet, and then we have
20 feet.
another 25-foot setback, and then we have plantings, and then we have a 6-foot, 100% opaque fence.
Okay.
So Ms. Bowman's house, you can see on the far west, northwest corner, and it is close. I don't know how it was built years ago that close, but it is rather close. She said 32 feet. I thought 40 to 50. But you can see our units are clustered around a cul-de-sac at the end, a loop drive. We have to have retention pond on this site. We cannot encroach in the wetlands. We have one small minor encroachment that we'll be mitigating for. But these are tucked in between the wetland systems, Commissioners. We do not share her road. You can see the easements to the west. Our road is past a gas transmission easement that traverses our south site, so we don't have any setback on the front. We have to push it all the way back to the north, and we're surrounded by wetlands on the east and the north and the immediate west. So we think it's compatible. We have to go through detailed site review. We have to go through engineering. We have to go through Swift Mud. We have to go through utilities. And yes, there's a lot of traffic on Willow Bend Parkway. I'm not going to tell you there is not, but we think it's a reasonable development. We thank you for your time.
so, there's really not a big change. You're not asking for increased density. She could sell her property and do the same exact thing.
Exactly.
And I don't see how we can, well, I'm going to make a motion for approval.
Can I
for
ask
your
one more
pres-
question? if
Yeah.
you don't mind?
Well, do we have a second? Second. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
Thanks. So it's not within the same HOA, though? The HOA is the neighboring community. It's not within the same homeowners association.
We are not part of that
You're not
HOA.
part of that HOA at all?
Several HOAs in the Willow
Several,
Bend.
right. I just want to make sure. Okay.
And Mr. Durbus's email to all of you represents a separate Willow Bend HOA.
Well, I never got that email, so.
Yeah. And he was.
I was the one left off for whatever reason.
And he was most kind. He came to the planning commission hearing set to oppose, and then he heard our plans, and he said, you know what, this is what we need in this community.
Okay.
And he asked if we would restrict it to that, and then I've just emailed him back and forth. He's been most kind. I think he did copy some of you commissioners.
And that's a resident representative from the HOA?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And they would
Right.
have to get, and they would need to get, I guess, support of the HOA for him to come write a letter of support.
Said he was on the HOA board. I can only imagine he had the support. He kept saying, I have to go back to my board members, and said, we are pleased, we support.
So, okay,
Agree with the
okay.
restriction. I don't want
Okay.
to speak on behalf of.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
And if you could just, and I know it's not going to come back to us, you still got to go through the site plan. If you could
Right.
please
Buffering.
work with the young lady with the buffering and try to do everything you can, even if it means, again, I can't tell you what to do, but I'd appreciate it if you could really work with them to try to make sure that they're
Absolutely
pleased for
will.
what you need to do.
We've reached out before, and we'll continue to reach out. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
P15.
Oh, sorry. Publication in the Tampa Bay Times, July 22nd, 2018.